Hello again, and welcome to part 4 of My Sister's Got a Spoon Up Her Nose. Remember last time we left the story with Dad calling Mr. Tugg a grapefruit after they met him in the accident and emergency department of the hospital, stuck inside a stepladder. Dad and the family are there because little baby Tomato has a spoon up her nose. "Hey, look at this," said Dad, picking up a leaflet and reading it aloud. "Are you brave enough to take the 3-mile challenge?" "What is it?" I asked. "It's a charity event for the hospital, the 3-mile challenge. You can sponsor someone to run a mile, swim a mile, and jump a mile." "Jump a mile? That's impossible." Dad turned the leaflet over. "Hey, good one. Guess what you do to jump a mile?" I shrugged. "Get fired from a cannon?" "Good try," said Dad. "It's a parachute jump. You jump from over a mile high." "Wow, I've always wanted to do that." "Since when?" asked Mum. "Always. As in, since now," grinned Dad. "Baby Tomato," called the nurse, and everyone in the waiting room stopped nattering to each other and began gazing round to see who was mad enough to be called Baby Tomato. I've never seen Mum look quite so embarrassed. She picked up Tomato and hastily made her way to the treatment room, while Dad and I stayed behind and played with Cheese. This usually means Cheese runs away as fast as he can and we have to catch him. It's very tiring, I can tell you. He's also pretty good at hiding, especially under people's coats and dresses. Luckily, it was not long before both Tomato and Mr. Tugg came back. Mr. Tugg was carrying his ladder cut into 2 pieces, and Tomato was holding a lolly. The spoon had gone. "Oh, she's fine," said Mum, thanking the nurse. "I don't know what we would have done if you hadn't been here," she said gratefully. "Yes, thank you," mumbled Mr. Tugg. "Maybe you'd like to sponsor me in our charity event," said the nurse quickly. Snatching up a 3-mile challenge leaflet. "The money I raise will go to the children's unit." Mr. Tugg had a quick read. "What a good idea. I'd be happy to sponsor you." "How about you?" asked Mr. Tugg, turning to Dad. "Don't you think the hospital deserves our sponsorship?" Dad saw this as a challenge. "No, Mr. Tugg, I am not going to sponsor a nurse." He paused for a dramatic moment and then added, "I am going to take part." "Take part?" repeated Mr. Tugg, and his little moustache gave a violent twitch. "Of course. I am going to run, swim, and jump a mile, and all the money I get from sponsors will go to the hospital." "You're..." Mr. Tugg broke off. I think he was going to tell Dad that he was mad, but he couldn't let Dad go one better than him. "That's exactly what I was planning to do," announced Mr. Tugg. "I am going to run, swim, and jump a mile too. And I'll tell you something right now. I shall beat you hollow." "Oh, yes? Oh, yes. Oh, yes," repeated Dad, raising himself on tiptoe to look even bigger. "Oh, yes," cried Mr. Tugg, standing on tiptoe too. They were nose to nose, and they eyeballed each other. I saw Mum look at Mrs. Tugg, and they rolled their eyes in despair. I don't know what they're worried about. It's going to be great. My Dad and Mr. Tugg in a running, swimming, jumping competition. I hope my Dad wins. That's the end of that chapter. Okay, today, question number 1. Why did Dad and Mr. Tugg decide to enter the 3-mile challenge? I'll say that again. Why did Dad and Mr. Tugg decide to enter the 3-mile challenge? That's your first question for today's reading. The second one is, do you think the challenge is intended to be a competition between the people who take part? Question 2, do you think the challenge is intended to be a competition between the people who take part. So 2 full sentence answers, please. I look forward to getting your email. Thank you very much. Bye for now.